when we choose to put ourselves, this is the dream I hold, right? There will be things that come up that kind of feel icky. There will be things that happen that kind of push your growth edges, and you have to choose. Do I want this version of me that can hold this dream, or do I want the comfortable familiarity of what's been, right? In the safe known when I might be miserable and like I have all of this burning within me, knowing what I would prefer. Because we have to remember, like, if we're specific enough, if we are speaking to our ideal client, right? There are going to be people that are not our ideal client, right? So if you are speaking your truth to the correct people, you will get traction and have people that come in, that are against whatever it is that you're saying, or they will pick it apart, right? And so it's a training of sorts to be able to like realize like this is that I must be doing something right then. And yeah, you're always going to get the people who are just out in the world, and that's a reflection of them, not of you, when they're going to come shit for no reason on what you're doing and what you're putting out, right? And then the ones that are, so like the dude that said maybe your cadence is too slow, that's his opinion. And you also then came back with it and said, in your brain, you analyzed it. It's like, okay, I understand that it's too slow for you. This is how I speak, right? And if that's true for you, then that means that that it's just not for him. He's not your ideal client, and that's okay. And there's so many more people that will be really appreciative of your slow cadence and who you are and how you present, right? So like it's very easy, and our brains always want to attach itself because that's negative feedback. And like in any area of life, really, like when you think back, is it easier to think about all the good things that has happened in your life, or is it easy to think about all of the things that you fucked up, or the people that hurt you, or this thing, you know what I mean? Like, even if you look at like back, right? So like, you just got to take it with a grain of salt. You say, what if this is true? And if this is true, what does that mean for me? Right? And you could even push it further. Like if you're talking about something that's very controversial and something says, somebody says, oh, you're an asshole, or, oh, you're an idiot, well, maybe you are an asshole, and maybe that's okay with you. Like, maybe like you can be an asshole in a specific situation, right? Like you can be perceived as that. Like, are you okay with holding that? Right? And so like even the bad things that people could perceive you as, like maybe you are, and maybe you're okay with that sometimes, and that's okay too, right? It's not just about like getting down to like if this truth is pleasant about you, right? And they're just seeing it wrong through their lens. Like also like it could be perceived as something that's not quite hunky-dory. Like, right? Like typically for women, if you get angry and you get, whatever, like you express your voice, you get called a bitch. You get, oh, like you're just an awful, like whatever, right? But then with me, like if I get called that, maybe I'm okay with that, because what I'm saying and what I'm expressing, one, helps other humans be able to say, oh, I can do that. I don't have to shove myself in this box. I don't have to smash myself down. I can express my anger because there is a purpose in that, right? And for a lot of humans, like that has gotten squashed. Oh, you have to be this way. You have to do this. You have to do that, right? So there's that also like kind of paradigm as well. And then, so yeah, like the first ad that I ever had that took off when I was making ads for school last year, I had only been making Phrasefront content for about 3 months, and it was like one of their highest performing videos ever. It was not highly like published, processed. It was not like well done, right? Like it was really kind of raw, and that might be one of the reasons why it did well. But like like you just stop looking at comments, or you can block people. Like there were a lot of dudes, because I said that school wasn't just a bunch of dudes teaching dudes how to sell like other dudes, right? There were a lot of, and that wasn't even like they didn't know how to find me because school was running it. right? But they were like, oh, her teeth are awful, and oh, she needs to do this, and la la la, like all of this, like on my physical appearance, not what I was saying, not anything else that like actually matters, like that I could actually change with like, you know, if I wanted to. But like that was a real quick jump into, am I going to let this like stop me? Am I going to let this impede what I'm choosing into, of sharing my truth, of being me, right? And almost 3 years ago, I said I was never going to let myself be put in a box by anyone ever again, right? And like that content is one thing, but also that son I was talking about, right? At that time, at that point in my life, there was something that after I made that decision, probably 2 to 3 days later, he called me and he let me know that because of this other decision that I had made, he could no longer be in contact with me. He was not okay with the decision that I was making as an adult, right? And he was like 20. And so his choice was, I can no longer be in contact with you. He would see my kids when I would take them over to my mom's house and he was visiting, like, you know, he texted me a thank you for the Christmas presents that my oldest daughter took him that year. But other than that, like no contact with my son. And like after I got that phone call from him, I was presented with a choice. Do I go back on what I said and promised myself and told the universe that I was no longer going to be able to put myself in a box for anyone? Or was I going to stick to what I said and allow him to make his choice, knowing that he, you know, was a 20-year-old kid and he's got this very specific view, and probably eventually we could probably patch things up and, you know, whatever. So we got off the phone call, went down and screamed and cried because like when I said that to the universe, I was like, I would have never expected that it would have been one of my kids a few days later trying to, well, if you're going to do this way, Mom, I can't be in contact with you, right? And so it took a good year, and it took my dad getting sick and then passing away, and my son came and he stepped up, right? So it did get repaired. But like when we choose to put ourselves, this is the dream I hold, right? There will be things that come up that kind of feel icky. There will be things that happen that kind of push your growth edges, and you have to choose. Do I want this version of me that can hold this dream? Or do I want the comfortable familiarity of what's been, right? In the safe known when I might be miserable and like I have all of this burning within me, knowing what I would prefer. But that's, you know, it's a simple process, but to like walk through that refining fire, right? And choose to dip your toes in. Like, even if you don't know the path, even if you don't know how you're going to get there, choosing to dip your toes in, that's scary as fuck. But if you don't choose, then you're just stuck where you're at. Like we like to like pretend that we could just keep doing the same things we've always done, expecting different results. And that's not how that works.